Okay, so we're on this beautiful tour bus, and I think it's my first time living the rock and roll lifestyle on a tour bus. So yeah, I can get down with this.
If we do party back here.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
But we're with Ash and Nikki from the fantastic New Year's Day. So first of all, how are you guys doing? How are you enjoying the UK?
Dude, absolutely loving it.
We love the UK. We feel very at home here.
Well, I mean, we had a chat previously. You've got a little issue with it regarding the weather.
Well, I mean, we're Southern Californians, so we're lizards, we're not super cold people, but it's really not that bad.
Yeah, we've adjusted pretty well.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Cool. Well, it's lucky you weren't here a couple of weeks ago. It was torrential and horrible.
No, yeah.
Now, the last time you were here was back in 2020. I've kind of got a feeling I know why you may not have been back, because there was something that happened we try not to talk about anymore. Dark day in mankind's past, as it were. But, how does it feel to be back? Because obviously this tour was supposed to happen last year, if I recall. How does it actually feel to be back with us?
It feels, I'm a big, I subscribe to the concept that everything happens for a reason and it happens when it should. So even though we were disappointed we didn't get to come in the fall, I feel like this is even better because the shows had a little bit more time to breathe. And we had a little bit more time to put more effort into it than we would have been super rushed if we had done it in the fall. So I think it's going great, like way better than we even hoped.
Cool. Now, part of this tour has actually been within the EU. Now, I have to ask, who does it better, the EU or us? And bear in mind, you are here right now.
They're gonna get mad. They're gonna get mad.
They won't get mad. Tell them it's the EU. I mean, we left
our
the
hearts,
EU.
Our
so
hearts are in the UK.
Fair play.
Yeah.
But how did the EU segment of the tour go?
Amazing. Like we are shocked and floored and awed and gagged and gooped at the fact that these shows have gone even better than we could have possibly imagined, especially after not being in any of these countries for 5 years.
Yeah. So Half Black Heart, as it's sort of coming up to a year old now. It's quite scary to think about it. It was like March it came out last year, if I recall. How do you feel that fans have responded, like during live shows, to these new songs?
Couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, it's been insane. Like, very surreal.
Yeah, they get an A+. Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite, your personal favorite track from this record? What's the one that's like made it for you?
Hurts Like Hell was not my favorite at first. I really didn't want to even play it, and now it's my absolute favorite song of New Year's Day's entire discography.
Playing wise, Vampire. I remember when I first heard that song, it blew my mind. But listening would probably be Burn It All Down.
Oh, I do like Vampire a lot.
It's a cool song. But I need to rewind. Like, you weren't a fan of your own song? How did that come
No,
about?
so sometimes when you write stuff in the studio and then you go to perform it live, it takes a minute to figure out how to perform it. It's very strange. And when we played Hurts Like Hell, it felt so slow. Can't explain it. I was like, I couldn't figure out how to move to it, and it took like half a tour to find my way, and then it became my favorite. But no, as a song I loved it, but performing live it was really hard at first. Now it's my favorite.
I think it's always the case. You're almost your own worst critic when it comes to your own work.
That plays a part. Yeah.
Now, what's been the best venue to play on this tour so far?
Can't answer that. They've all been incredible. No, just too good. It's all too good. I can't answer that.
All right, let's put it another way. What sort of venue do you like more? Do you like the small, gritty, sort of dive bar type venue? The mid-sized venues, like, the one where...
Dive bar.
Dive bar?
It don't matter to me. Give me a stage. I'll crush it.
For me personally, I like the dive bars. Like when we were in Leeds, I don't want to say that was a dive bar, but it was definitely a more intimate show. So much fun. So much fun.
Cool. Now, what do you prefer out of from writing and being creative with your music, or do you prefer taking out on the road and seeing fans' response? What's the choice?
That's like apples and oranges. So they're both totally different things. I enjoy both, and then I dislike both for certain reasons. So both have their ups and downs.
Oh, 100% performing.
He's a performer.
Yeah. I hate being in the studio. I love performing and smashing shit.
So what's the negatives that you find from some of it? Let's crack open that.
So in the studio, we'll, like, for example, on Half Black Heart, there was a stint where I was in the studio for 3 weeks straight, and by the third week, it felt so like Groundhog's Day that I thought I was gonna blow my brains out because it was like the same thing every day, and I was getting cabin fever. And but then it's also fun because you get to be creative and you get those ones of like, that was so sick. I can't believe we just thought of that. And you high five and it's great. And then tour has its moments when you're on stage, it's so much fun, or you're at the pub and you're exploring a new place with your friends. And then there's also like missing home and being tired, and my back hurts and my neck hurts so bad. It each has its pros and cons.
Now, I have to ask, female in a all-male, well, not all-male band, you're here right now, but what's it like, and forgive me for this, Nikki, being on a tour bus with a load of sweaty men? How do you cope with that?
I've been officially touring since my first Warped Tour was 2007. So I will be coming up on 20 years of touring soon, and it's gotten a little easier in that time. Fortunately, I tour with guys who are incredibly respectful of my space and how they live in that space. So they try to be not too smelly. They try to be not too loud. They help me carry my bags. They make sure like I get to use the bathroom first, and just stuff like that. I feel like now it's fine. They're like girls anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
We share makeup and hair tools and sometimes underwear.
Oh,
I've worn your underwear under my dress because
That's what you.
yeah, because I ran out.
I was about to go. There must be a story here. Nikki, what are you telling us?
It's not
There's a lady underwear story
not
here.
underwear.
It's a little bit tight down there. Something I do want to touch on, because women in rock has become quite a big thing now, especially 20 years ago. There was still, ladies in rock absolutely slaying it way back in the 80s. How do you feel things have evolved, and do you still find it a bit of a challenge sometimes, being, for want of a better word, the minority in this scene?
Before, when you would have asked me in my earlier days on Warped Tour, I would have said definitely a challenge. Now I feel like it's a massive advantage. Women are more put on a pedestal, I think, now in music than they ever have been. Where before it was kind of like the handicap, I think you could say. Now it's like you want to have that female fronted band on your tour because their ears are gonna perk up. They're gonna pay attention. When before it was like, do we need to have a girl on the tour? That's just how the energy felt to me. And so now I feel like we're fighting for those spots a lot less.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you say that, because whenever I see, like, there's a female-fronted band, I'm just like, okay, my ears are pricked up, because there's so much more variety. I mean, I think of bands like Arch Enemy and the things that lady can do with her voice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would fully agree. So, what's coming next after this tour? Like, are we going to be tasting some new music or anything? What can we spill?
So last year was a heavy touring year. This year is going to be more of we call it a hermit year, where we're maybe a little bit more quiet when it comes to live performances, but we're going to be really pounding the pavement with creativity and trying to see what comes out.
Cool. Now, I've only got one question for you left, and it's a little section I actually like to call Tales of Touring Terror. Oh yes. Now, we already know Nikki likes to wear your underwear, which is like, yeah, each of their own these days. But have you got a story in your 20 years of something gross, embarrassing, fun, or
too many,
just really unexpected?
We could do a whole YouTube series just on terrible tour stories. I mean, it's hard to even, where do you start? We get asked a lot about when we toured with Marilyn Manson. People are really curious about what that was like for us. And he was very, very respectful and very sweet and very kind to us. But that was a really tough tour because we were in Paris down the street when the Bataclan attack happened. And that was a very terrible tour story. That was very scary. Our whole tour got canceled and we went home, and we were so excited to tour with Manson, but the whole thing was like, nope, American bands go home now. And a lot of people don't know that. Everyone knows that if you were a band during COVID, you went home, but not a lot of people know, like, if you were an American band at that time in Europe, like, you got sent home. So that was tough.
I think one of mine, not as dramatic as that, but there was a time when we used to spit blood. And we used to have like the specific kind of mouth blood that was like minty. And we ran out and someone got me like this just regular Target brand, like this regular
gasoline.
Yeah. And I remember I had it in my mouth and I accidentally swallowed it because I was so dehydrated. And during the chorus of one of the songs, I'm just by my amp, just vomiting out my guts. And then just
vomiting fake blood?
No, and whatever else was in my system.
Gross.
And then turn around, big old smile on my face of just disgust.
That's fun.
That's very Exorcist, like very rock and roll, very horror, and
We used to do the spitting blood thing, but we got so many complaints from venues, we stopped.
Yeah.
And when you're an opening band, you headliners don't like it because it gets blood on the stage and blood on gear and whatever. So we had to. So now we just don't do it anymore.
Well,
Otherwise, we'd have to put like a tarp on stage or something.
Well, you're headlining now.
But
Who's to stop you?
The venues, yeah.
Cha.
From Live Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they like that. But you know what? Maybe someday when we can afford to like bring all of our own gear and tarp the stage, we'll bring it back.
Tarp the stage and make it look like a horror movie. Like you can get one poor fan
Just
up
slip
there.
around everywhere, just fall over, slip in blood.
Amazing.
Good old days.
Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for chatting to us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And good luck with that. I think you've only got one more day of the tour after this. So well-earned rest, I think. And if you have time, check out London. It's an amazing city.
That's what we're going to go do right now. Okay, bye.
Thanks a lot, guys.